Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Seth Skorkowsky getting every single thing wrong about tabletop role-playing games, tabletop role-playing game reviews, and what we lost because Seth Skorkowsky did not review games that he did not think that the players he knows would enjoy. All right. So, okay, there's a lot here. I think that we missed as a society. Actually, let's keep it tight, right? What did? Well, actually, I think a lot of people lost, right? So, what did it mean that Seth Skorkowsky coddled and protected and did not challenge his players, and so chose tabletop role playing games that he already knew they were going to like in order to do TTRPG reviews, right? So I think that the Dungeons and Dragons community lost out, and I'm not going to say the TTRPG community. I don't believe that exists. I believe everything is in the context of Dungeons and Dragons. You're either Dungeons and Dragons or you're just a Dungeons and Dragons competitor. It's all the D&D community, in my humble opinion. So the Dungeons and Dragons community lost out, and America lost out. Let me take you there. All right, let's go. So how and why? Well, okay, so Seth says it. He says the quiet part loud. He says, "Hey, we're not actually doing TTRPG." I'm paraphrasing here. We're not actually doing TTRPG reviews. I'm giving you a field report for games that my group was already predisposed to enjoy. And he specifically said he turns away many companies that are coming to him with stuff that he knows his group isn't going to like, right? And so what didn't get reviewed, right? So here we go. All right, so these are just three, right? I could list 30, but I want to keep this tight and concise, okay? Thirsty Sword Lesbians, The Wild Sea, Last Caravan, okay? All tremendous tabletop role-playing games that Seth hasn't reviewed, right? Because he knows his group isn't predisposed to enjoy them, right? So what did we lose? What did the D&D community lose? Well, first of all, this juxtaposition is really important, right? Somebody who doesn't like a game, reviewing a game, that's where the real heart of review happens, right? What if he found, oh my gosh, I don't like the theme here at all. I'm not, Thirsty Sword Lesbians isn't my jam, but these mechanics are incredible. This is the best mechanic I've ever seen for handling a chase, right? Or even, for some type of mechanic. And the thing is, first of all, it would have been a big deal because Seth doesn't like that stuff, right? So one, by him presenting that to his audience, it would have challenged his audience. It would have forced them to grow, improve, transform, right? And he might have walked away, and especially if he found something in the mechanics he liked. I totally understand. He may not like in any way, right? Like any of the setting. But what about the rules? There could have been something there that he massively enjoyed, right? The other thing is, what about production value, right? Seth is brilliant. He's really smart, right? And if he had said, hey, these guys figured something out, or they made mistakes, right? That could have helped other people who were making Dungeons & Dragons competitor TTRPGs, right? And he has a huge platform. That would have been a blessing to the D&D community. But get this, where America loses is, what if Seth had read and run Thirsty Sword Lesbians for 6 weeks, 5 sessions, and him and all his players walk away and go, none of us are lesbians, and none of us are going to change our gender, and none of us are going to change our preferences based on this. But we understand this one thing about relationships better, right? First of all, I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that Seth and probably every single player at his table is cis and straight, right? Like, so there's a good chance of that. If that's not true, okay, no worries. I'm ready to hear it. I think I'm just saying it's probably about a 90% possibility, right? Just based on the rest of his content. But if cis straight people had read, Thirsty Sword Lesbian and said, hey, we walked away with this new source of wisdom, right? And it would have been a big deal because it's a swing, right? It's, it's one group who is predisposed to not know about another group and not understand another group having the chance to bridge that gap, right? And that's the key. It could have been extremely valuable. It could have been extreme, and it would have taken a lot of courage, right? And it's unlikely. There are probably only a 5% chance it happened, right? Good chance. Him and all of his players are like, did not enjoy. Man, just didn't really dig this. This is not our jam, right? But there could have been just one person who said, hey, I understand this one thing about human relationships better now. And the fact that it would have went across countercultures, cultures that are counter to each other, would have been a huge gain. And so I think by Seth getting everything wrong about tabletop role-playing game reviews, the Dungeons & Dragons community loses, and America is lost. And we don't even really know how deep that loss is. But I think it's significant. I think it really is significant, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.